1 in 3 women worldwide experience physical or sexual violence, mostly by an intimate partner. Violence against women and children is a human rights violation. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, emerging data and reports from those on the front lines have shown that all types of violence against women and girls, particularly domestic violence, has intensified. This is the shadow pandemic growing amidst the COVID-19 crisis, and we need a global collective effort to stop it. I am Nathaniel Arnacario, a grade 11 UM student at Patronage of Mary Development School, and I will be explaining to you guys the Republic Act number 9262, otherwise known as the Anti-Violence Act of Women and Children of 2004, aka known as VAWC.
55, yan ang bilang ng mga babaeng nakararanas ng pang-aabuso kada araw nitong community quarantine. Ang masaklap, nangyayari pa ang karahasan sa loob mismo ng kanilang tahanan.
International Women's Day bukas mga kapuso at kasabay sa paggunita nito, hindi maikakailang maraming babae pa rin ang biktima ng pang-aabuso at pananakit.
We know lockdowns and quarantines are essential to suppressing COVID-19, but they can trap women with abusive partners. Over the past weeks, as economic and social pressures and fear have grown, we have seen a horrifying global surge in domestic violence.
A Philippine National Demographic and Health Survey said in 2017 that 1 in 4 Filipino women aged 15 to 49 has experienced physical, emotional, or sexual abuse by their partner or husband. Sadly, authorities revealed in June that this statistics has risen since COVID-19 lockdowns began in March this year. The Philippines figures are consistent with the World Health Organization report that says violence against women has increased during this year's pandemic because couples are spending more time together at home. Stress has been a long factor during the pandemic and is often brought about by the loss of a job and health fears. This video that I will show to you is quite sensitive, so please excuse me.
Sa pinapatupad na enhanced community quarantine ngayon sa bansa, nasa bahay lang karamihan, maliban sa mga frontliners at essential workers. Pero may ilang mga kababaihan at kabataan na tila nangikisilong sa panganib. Rinig sa video ang iyak ng batang nagsusumamong itigil na ang pananakit sa kanya. Di na siya makatayo at umuungol na sa sobrang sakit. Sinasalag naman ng babae ang pananakit ng lalaki, ngunit siya naman ang binalingan nito ng sunod-sunod na suntok sa katawan.
As what you can see on the video, the spouse of the boy has been badly beaten by his father. This is one of the many abuses that happens during the COVID-19 lockdown. Fortunately for us, we have the Republic Act 9262, otherwise known as the Anti-Violence Against Women and Children Act of 2004. It refers to any act or a series of acts committed by any person against a woman who is his wife, former wife, or against a woman with whom the person has or had a sexual or dating relationship, or with whom he has a common child, or against her child, whether legitimate or illegitimate, within or without the family abode, which result in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, psychological harm, or suffering, or economic abuse, including threats of such acts, battery, assault, coercion, harassment, or arbitrary deprivation of liberty. It includes but is not limited to the following acts. Physical violence refers to acts that include bodily or physical harm. Sexual violence refers to an act which is sexual in nature, committed against a woman, a man, or her child, or his child. It includes but is not limited to Rape, sexual harassment, treating a woman or her child as a sex object, making demeaning and sexual suggestive remarks, physically attacking the sexual parts of the victim's body, forcing him to her to watch obscene publications and indecent shows, or forcing the woman or her child to do indecent acts or make films thereof, forcing his or her wife, mistress, or lover to live in a conjugal home or sleep together in the same room with abuser. 2. Acts causing or attempting to cause the victim to engage in any sexual activity by force, threat of force, physical or other harm, or threat of physical or other harm, coercion. Psychological violence refers to acts or omissions causing or likely to cause mental or emotional suffering of the victim, such as but not limited to intimidation, harassment, stalking, damage to property, public ridicule or humiliation, repeated verbal abuse, and martial infidelity. It includes causing or allowing the victim to witness the physical or sexual or psychological abuse of a member of the family to which the victim belongs, or to witness pornography in any forms, or to witness abusive injury to pets, or to unlawful or unwanted deprivation of the right to custody and or visitation of common children. Economic abuse refers to acts that makes or attempt to make a woman or a man financially dependent. This includes but is not limited to the following: withdrawal or financial support, or preventing the victim from engaging in any legitimate profession, occupation, business, or activity, except in cases where the other spouse or partner objects on valid, serious, and moral grounds as defined in the Article 73 of the Family Code. Number 2. Deprivation or threat of deprivation of financial resources and the right to the use of enjoyment of the conjugal, community, or property owned in common. 3rd. Destroying household property. 4th. Controlling the victim's own money or properties, or solely controlling the conjugal money or properties. Children are those below 18 years of age, are those regardless of age, who are incapable of taking care of themselves as stated in Republic Act 7610. It includes the biological children of the victim and other children under her care or his care. A dating relationship is one which has a romantic involvement. It means that a relationship existed between a woman and a partner who is abusive or has previously abused her, whether or not their relationship was formal or informal. Sexual relations refers to a single sexual act which may or may not result to a bearing of a child. The law recognizes the unequal relations of a man and a woman in an abusive relationship, where it is usually the woman who is at the disadvantage. Thus, the law protects the woman and her children. The victim, the child who is a minor, legitimate and illegitimate, and a person aged 18 years and beyond who doesn't have the ability to decide for herself or himself because of an emotional, physical, and mental illness, can make full use of the law. Any child under the care of a woman is also protected under the law. Women can also be liable under the law. These are the lesbian partners, girlfriends, or former partners of the victim with whom she has or had a sexual dating relationship. The law acknowledges that women who have retaliated against their partners or who committed violence as a form of self-defense may have suffered from battered women syndrome or BWS. If the courts have proven that the offender is guilty of the crime, he may be imprisoned and will be obliged to pay 100,000 to 300,000 in damages alone. The length of imprisonment depends on the gravity of the crime. The law allows women and their children to secure barangay protection order and or temporary or permanent protection order from the court. It is an order prescribed in the Anti-VAWC Act to prevent further abuse of or violence against a woman and a child. It also provides them relief from said abuse or violence. Any one of the following may also file the protection order in behalf of the victims: parents or guardians, grandparents, children and grandchildren, which are specifically above 18 or 20, relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins-in-laws, local officials and DSWD, social workers, police, lawyers, counselors, therapists, healthcare providers, which is nurse, doctors, barangay health workers, and any two people who came from the city or municipality where VAWC happened and who have personal knowledge of the crime. This is the shadow pandemic growing amidst the COVID-19 crisis, and we need a global collective effort to stop it. As COVID-19 cases continue to strain health services, essential services such as domestic violence shelters and helplines have reached capacity, more needs to be done to prioritize addressing violence against women in COVID-19 response and recovery efforts. Everyone has a role to play, including the Republic Act 9262 and you.